Final Fantasy is a series that spans more than a dozen games and spin-offs, and has since branched out to multiple feature films, toys, and soundtracks. In Japan, it remains a gargantuan franchise, a veritable media empire that comprises the core of Square Enix's business. But where's the best place to start? Here are a few suggestions. Unlike many other franchises, each entry in Final Fantasy is largely self-contained, making it easy to jump into later games. A good starting point is the recently released Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. Originally released for the PlayStation 2, Final Fantasy X is arguably the last great game in the series, and it looks great in high definition. With its expansive but linear sphere system, it's easy for newcomers to pick up and play, and most gamers should be able to finish it without too much trouble. Though more than a decade old now, Final Fantasy X continues to hold up well today, making it the perfect entry point for newcomers to the series. Most fans consider Final Fantasy IV one of the best entries in the series, as well as one of the best games ever made. So why isn't it listed as an entry point? The reason is, while it has been remade multiple times over the years, it definitely shows its age with its simple story and graphics. That said, Final Fantasy IV remains extremely popular today for a reason. And if you're feeling skeptical, the outstanding soundtrack and quick pace should eventually win you over. Another popular game in the series is Final Fantasy VI. As the final entry on the Super Nintendo, it has some of the best graphics of the 16-bit era in addition to having one of the best soundtracks ever. Sprawling and expansive, it's hard not to be impressed by its ambition even today. But it's also more advanced than Final Fantasy IV, or even Final Fantasy X, featuring a staggering number of side quests and optional battles. For newcomers, it marks not an entry point, but a gateway to understanding and embracing Final Fantasy's most advanced games. The most advanced games on this list remain controversial even with some fans. Some call them genius, while others are more ambivalent. But Final Fantasy XII in particular is certainly worth seeing for yourself once you had a thorough grounding in the series. A direct descendant of the strategy game Final Fantasy Tactics, it plays almost like an MMORPG. It's also significantly darker than other games in the series, making it an acquired taste for those who prefer lighter RPGs. On the opposite end of the spectrum is Final Fantasy V, which is much lighter, but also much harder than anything before or since. Featuring one of the earliest instances of the iconic job system, which makes it possible to mix and match different RPG classes. Its deep strategy is belied by its extremely simple story. Some may struggle to embrace its complicated mechanics and odd one-dimensional characters, but playing it is essential to gaining a full understanding of where Final Fantasy came from and where it's going. Naturally, these are only suggestions. Final Fantasy is an extremely rich universe with few entries that can be called truly bad. The only game in the series we would recommend avoiding is Final Fantasy III, though it is significant in its own way, with introducing the job system for the first time. More than 25 years, Final Fantasy has become part of the texture of gaming. Though it has recently struggled, many of its best games are timeless, featuring some of the best soundtracks and most memorable moments in gaming history. In that sense, it doesn't matter where you start. No matter what, you'll be experiencing an indelible part of gaming history. To see more of us talking about our favorite games, keep reading usgamer.net.